The Iraqi Dinar Today latest news, where we bring you the most critical updates on Iraq's financial journey. There are rare and specific moments in the history of global finance when a single, seemingly quiet announcement manages to catch the entire world completely off guard. These are the moments when a standard update suddenly evolves into a major turning point for an entire nation, dramatically altering the trajectory of its economic future. Today, we are discussing exactly that kind of moment coming out of Iraq. What has just transpired within the Central Bank of Iraq, or CBI, is currently sending shockwaves through the community of investors, economists, and currency analysts who have been meticulously tracking the dinar's long-awaited comeback story. The CBI has officially received the long, discussed and much anticipated digital green light, an authorization that signals a massive acceleration in the country's financial modernization efforts, stunning nearly every observer with its timing and decisiveness. To be clear, this is not a rumor, nor is it a leaked memo that might be subject to change or retraction. It is a formal, full-scale authorization for the CBI to begin rolling out the next critical phase of Iraq's comprehensive digital financial transformation. This monumental step moves Iraq past the planning and preparation stages and squarely into the execution phase of its transition to a modern economy. The shift is so fundamental that it represents more than just a technological upgrade. It is a change in the entire operational philosophy of the nation's financial sector, a change that many believed was still years away from happening. The suddenness of this announcement is the core reason for the global attention it is now receiving. What makes this specific development so incredibly significant is not merely the fact that it happened, but rather the timing, the speed, and the sheer scale of what this authorization implies for the country's monetary structure. While many observers, including major economic forecasting firms, expected incremental changes to come from Iraq throughout the calendar year of 2025, very few anticipated a move like this to happen so fast, so boldly, and with such potential to fundamentally reshape how the nation handles money, manages trade, and enforces financial security. This goes far beyond simple technology upgrades. It represents a foundational shift that could influence Iraq's entire economic destiny and its standing within the global financial architecture. The first concept that needs to be fully understood by our viewers is that this digital green light is not simply a software patch, an internal system update, or the introduction of a single modern banking feature. It represents a massive structural departure that pushes Iraq away from a cash-heavy, manually managed financial system and firmly toward a fully integrated digital economy that aligns with international standards of transparency and speed. For many years, the Iraqi financial sector has been operating on legacy systems that left the country vulnerable to significant challenges, including widespread corruption, the difficult circulation of counterfeit notes, agonizingly slow transaction times for businesses, and a heavy, often destabilizing reliance on the physical US dollar for major transactions. This cash-based system has historically been a major obstacle, a kind of anchor preventing the realization of Iraq's long-term economic goals, despite the country's vast oil wealth and potential. While the central bank has been diligently modernizing its internal processes and infrastructure quietly in the background, the country required explicit, high-level government authorization to take this next massive, public-facing leap forward into a digital age. The announcement confirms that the CBI now possesses that definitive and necessary authorization to proceed immediately, eliminating the bottleneck that many analysts believed would persist for months or even years. The political and financial alignment indicated by this approval is a key factor in the surprise felt across the market. This critical approval allows the Central Bank of Iraq to immediately expand digital payments infrastructure nationwide, to significantly accelerate the adoption of mobile banking solutions for all citizens, to introduce comprehensive e-wallet systems for government disbursements, and most importantly, to move ahead with an initiative that has been whispered about for months within financial circles: the full-scale digital dinar strategy. This is why analysts globally are paying such incredibly close attention to this development. It is the final piece of the structural puzzle that makes future, more advanced financial policies possible for the CBI, shifting the conversation from if to when major reform might be fully implemented. The core reason this is capturing so much attention is not because digitizing payments is a brand new concept in the world. Nearly every major economy has already done so. It is because, for Iraq specifically, it completes a critical, missing, foundational piece of the nation's overarching currency reform puzzle. This step caught so many people by surprise because it is not just a technical progression, which can be slow and bureaucratic, but a deeply strategic, politically and financially coordinated maneuver that dramatically shortens the expected timeline for Iraq's full economic integration. It demonstrates a level of readiness and institutional confidence that was previously only speculative in nature. What makes this timing so surprising is that very few of the experts following the Iraqi market expected the government and the CBI to make such a decisive, large-scale digital move this early in the year 2025. Most mainstream predictions prior to this announcement suggested that Iraq would remain in an extended planning and gradual testing mode for another year or more, likely only testing small pilot programs in limited regions without making large-scale, full national commitments. However, the official announcement from the central bank paints a very different picture, one of urgency, institutional readiness, and undeniable confidence in the technology and its implementation partners. This green light allows Iraq to break free from the slow, restrictive, and financially compromising behaviors of past decades and rapidly build the modern systems that create lasting economic stability. When countries make a decisive transition from cash to digital financial structures, they instantly gain a level of visibility and real-time oversight over every single transaction that was previously impossible to achieve. They gain the ability to detect illegal movements of funds instantly, and they acquire technological tools that strictly limit currency manipulation, black market activity, and deliberate payment delays, all of which have plagued Iraq's financial sector for years. Perhaps most importantly, the nation gains control, real, tangible, and immediate control over the value, movement, and destiny of its national currency. Iraq's accelerated move shocked observers because it signals that the central bank believes the country is finally prepared to take that demanding level of control and responsibility, and that belief, coming from the institution itself, has major, undeniable implications for the future strength and global recognition of the Iraqi dinar. It suggests that the CBI is satisfied that the internal systems are robust enough to handle the pressures of an open, digital environment. The interesting part of this narrative is that Iraq has been preparing for this quietly, step by deliberate step, even when many were not paying close attention to the complex technical and regulatory details. The Central Bank of Iraq has spent the past 2 years diligently building modern financial rails, upgrading banking software across all major institutions, connecting local banks to global payment platforms, and crucially, enforcing much stricter compliance rules across the board to meet international standards. These were not random acts. They were strategic prerequisites for the move just announced. Furthermore, partnerships with major international technology companies have been instrumental in modernizing point-of-sale systems and creating new, secure digital gateways throughout the nation, laying the groundwork for a mass transition. Iraq has also been establishing a much stronger, more sophisticated regulatory environment, aimed squarely at preventing financial crimes and capital flight. Therefore, while this moment came as a complete surprise to the general public and many external observers, it certainly did not come out of nowhere. It is the culmination of years of focused preparation. Behind the scenes, The digital green light is actually the final executive step in a long building sequence of infrastructure and regulatory upgrades that Iraq has been organizing since the government's major reform push began. The reason the approval resonated so strongly across global markets is that it officially moves the central bank from a passive phase of preparation and testing into an active, aggressive phase of full-scale execution. The waiting phase is formally over, the testing phase is conclusively ending, and Iraq is now definitively entering the implementation phase where real, tangible, and nation-defining change occurs at speed, impacting every single citizen and business. A major, crucial component of this sweeping transformation is the emerging digital dinar strategy. While the CBI has not yet released a complete, full public rollout plan, insiders and those familiar with the technical prerequisites have indicated that the project strongly resembles the early stages of a central bank digital currency CBDC model, similar to those being actively explored by other sovereign nations. It is vital for our viewers to understand that a digital dinar would function exactly like the physical money currently issued by the CBI, but would exist only in a purely electronic, tokenized, or account-based form. Crucially, this is not a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, it is not decentralized, and it is not a private sector token. It is a sovereign fiat currency, fully controlled by the government and the central bank, maintaining the same legal status as the paper notes. This electronic format allows for instant cross-border payments, real-time settlement of debts, absolute traceability of all funds, stronger anti-fraud tools that are impossible with cash, and cross-border interoperability with other major economies. No country launches a digital currency of this magnitude unless it plans to fully modernize its entire monetary policy framework in a sweeping manner. A fully digital dinar makes it significantly easier for the central bank to precisely manage the nation's money supply, instantly track real-time inflation data, rapidly detect illegal transactions and illicit financial flows, and adjust market liquidity with surgical precision within the domestic market. It also creates the necessary level of transparency and accurate data, a collection to support future, more ambitious structural reforms, including potential future exchange rate adjustments. This is why so many people are paying such close attention today. A digital currency of this nature is not created for entertainment or minor convenience. It is created for major financial evolution and monetary control. This brings us to the topic most people are considering: how this major digital move relates to Iraq's long-standing, publicly discussed currency reform strategies. For years, Iraq has openly discussed modernizing its monetary structure, including potential future steps such as the deletion of zeros from the currency, the issuance of new high-denomination notes, and the eventual restoration of stronger, sustained international recognition for the dinar. However, any major policy shift like that requires a clean, completely transparent, and fully traceable financial system to be effective and safe. Without a robust, pre-existing digital infrastructure, currency reform becomes extremely risky for the government because too much physical cash disappears from the official system. Too much corruption can easily interfere with the process, and too many unknown variables exist in the supply chain. Digital systems, by their very nature, work to completely eliminate those risks by allowing the government to account for every single dinar in circulation and accurately track every major transaction. When a country decisively digitizes its foundation before it enacts major structural reform, it sets itself up for a smooth, controlled transition without the chaos or mismanagement that often plagues cash-heavy changes. Therefore, this digital green light could be viewed not as the reform itself, but as the critical step before the step. The necessary, non-negotiable foundation that makes true, effective, and safe monetary reform possible in the future. That is exactly why analysts are surprised. Foundations must be built, secured, and ready before any kind of public announcement is made regarding the superstructure. And Iraq may now be laying the very last, most important pieces of that final foundation, signaling that the entire system is reaching an operational tipping point much sooner than anyone expected. Another surprising factor in this unfolding story is the strong, visible political support that appears to be solidly behind the digital transformation initiative. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani has consistently emphasized economic reform, rapid modernization, aggressive anti-corruption measures, and most relevantly, strengthening the national currency's domestic and international value. However, few political observers expected such rapid, effective alignment between the executive government and the independent central bank on a major, national-scale project. The fact that this high-level, structural approval came swiftly and apparently without significant public resistance or political infighting signals a unified leadership that is highly unusual in Iraq's recent political history. When political unity aligns with comprehensive financial modernization, major, structural changes can and do happen much faster than expected, overwhelming the forces of inertia and bureaucracy. Al-Sudani has repeatedly stated that Iraq aims to significantly reduce its reliance on the US dollar and push the dinar to the forefront of all domestic and regional economic activity. This new digital approval fits perfectly into that stated mission, giving the government a practical, traceable way to ensure full transparency and move decisively toward achieving true economic sovereignty, free from the constraints of outdated payment systems. So, this pivotal moment isn't just a technological event. It is political momentum turning into real, measurable, and immediate action on the financial front, creating a powerful synergy between the CBI and the government that accelerates the entire process for the benefit of the nation, financial health, and global perception. Behind the scenes, one of Iraq's biggest, yet quietest, strengths right now is its massive and continually growing foreign currency reserve. The central bank's reserves have climbed significantly over the past couple of years and now sit among the highest in the entire region, creating a substantial financial safety net. These reserves act as the definitive, rock-solid foundation for any future currency adjustments or monetary policy changes the CBI might decide to make. When a country significantly strengthens its reserves, it dramatically increases its overall stability, boosts investor confidence in the long term, and secures the raw financial ability to support major exchange rate decisions without triggering economic chaos. This is precisely where the digital transformation becomes even more meaningful and synergistic with existing strengths. A modernized, fully traceable, high-speed digital financial system, when combined with strong, multi-billion-dollar reserves, creates the perfect, self-sustaining environment for future, ambitious monetary changes. Many sophisticated analysts now believe that Iraq has been quietly preparing for this dual foundation for several years. First, building strong, stable reserves, and second, establishing digital transparency and control. What caught everyone off guard was not just the digital approval itself, but the combination of its timing and its place in this structured sequence. Iraq strengthened reserves first, then modernized its internal banking systems, then secured high-level political unity and regulatory sign-off, and now has officially activated the full-scale digital rollout. That sequence is far too structured and deliberate to be a mere coincidence. It suggests a coordinated, long-term plan is being executed with precision, with the digital green light being the final, critical step before the system is declared fully ready for the next phase of monetary policy implementation. One of the most dramatic and immediate impacts of this rapid digital shift will undoubtedly be on corruption reduction, which is a major long-term goal for the government. Iraq has struggled with financial leakage, capital flight, and illicit enrichment for decades, as physical cash is easily stolen, smuggled across borders, hidden from taxation, or easily counterfeited. Black market trading thrives in cash-heavy environments, and for years, Iraq has struggled immensely to reduce illegal dollar movement and definitively stabilize its official exchange rate without disruptive interventions. Digital systems disrupt all of that immediately and fundamentally. With this new, authorized system, every single dinar becomes instantly and fully traceable, and every major transfer leaves a permanent digital footprint that can be audited. Fraud becomes astronomically harder. Organized dollar smuggling becomes nearly impossible to sustain at scale. And shadow markets weaken significantly due to lack of traceable currency. Furthermore, government payroll fraud, which has been one of Iraq's biggest internal corruption issues, can be virtually eliminated through mandatory, secure digital payouts to citizen wallets, rather than unreliable physical distribution. The digital green light is not just about modern convenience or faster banking. It is about cleaning up a financial system that has been exploited for years by criminal networks and corrupt actors. What surprised observers is how aggressively and quickly Iraq is now moving toward this new era of absolute transparency. It signals high-level confidence, undeniable institutional readiness, and a profound, unified commitment that Iraq wants to permanently close the doors to corruption and financial illicit activity once and for all, aligning itself with the expectations of the global financial community. As Iraq modernizes its financial infrastructure digitally, it also becomes exponentially more attractive internationally, as secure digital systems are the undisputed backbone of all global trade and investment today. International correspondent banks and major global payment processors overwhelmingly prefer digital clarity and secure, traceable payment lines, and foreign investors prefer economies where their money cannot simply vanish into the shadows of a cash system. Companies that trade with Iraq prefer economies with fast, electronic, low-risk transactions and settlements that reduce their exposure to currency risk. By fully integrating with global financial networks and adopting digital standards, Iraq sets the immediate stage for international interoperability and faster, safer trade. With this powerful authorization, the dinar can eventually integrate more easily into global payment rails, meaning easier trade settlements, demonstrably higher investor confidence, and wider, more sustained global recognition for the currency's stability and reliability. This is exactly why global markets reacted so strongly and immediately to the digital announcement. Iraq is actively positioning itself as a core part of the modern global economy, rather than a nation trailing behind it. For everyday Iraqi citizens, this rapid, large-scale digital shift has the potential to change life dramatically for the better. Right now, the vast majority of Iraqis still rely heavily on physical cash, which is inherently slow, risky to carry, and inconvenient for daily commerce. Many citizens wait for hours in long queues to complete simple bank tasks or receive their government salaries. Digital systems fix that instantly, allowing people to transfer money instantly from their phones, pay bills electronically from home, save safely in traceable accounts, and receive salaries and benefits without the significant delays and corrupt intermediaries that currently exist. Government benefits and stipends will eventually be issued directly to secure digital wallets, completely eliminating the various layers of middlemen who often siphon or delay money intended for the public. Small and medium-sized businesses will be able to easily accept digital payments and access formal loans more easily than ever before, while young entrepreneurs will be able to participate in the growing e-commerce economy in ways they never could with cash alone. This approval isn't just a high-level government upgrade. It is a profound and imminent lifestyle change for millions of ordinary citizens. What surprised most analysts about this particular element is how quickly Iraq seems culturally ready and prepared to make this decisive shift. Even older citizens who are traditionally resistant to new digital methods have begun actively using basic mobile banking solutions in recent months, often due to targeted government incentives and educational campaigns that make the process safer and more accessible. This suggests that Iraq is evolving, adapting, and embracing technology faster than external experts expected, demonstrating a national eagerness for financial modernization that is a huge asset to the CBI execution plan. Of course, no major national transformation of this magnitude comes without significant challenges that must be addressed methodically. Switching an entire country from a deeply entrenched cash-based culture to a fully digital system requires intensive training, widespread public education, the construction of robust and resilient infrastructure, and guaranteed nationwide acceptance. Banks must upgrade their systems rapidly, businesses must adapt to new payment terminals, and citizens must learn new, secure digital tools. However, Iraq is already aggressively addressing these issues through ongoing training programs for bank staff, the rapid implementation of new digital compliance rules for all major financial institutions, and the rollout of updated payment platforms for all government offices, ensuring smooth integration. The central bank is working closely with financial institutions, technology partners, and local political leaders to ensure readiness. The reason this caught external observers off guard is because it shows Iraq is not merely announcing a hopeful digital transformation. It is actively, immediately preparing for its successful, full-scale implementation, doing the heavy lifting first. In the coming months, there are several key measurable indicators that our viewers should be watching closely to track the progress of this massive shift. The first will be official, regular central bank updates about the progress with digital payments adoption and the national modernization rate. The second is specific announcements regarding Iraq's deeper integration with international financial systems, especially any steps involving cross-border digital settlements or currency swaps. The third consists of government policy adjustments specifically aimed at reducing domestic dollar usage and increasing dinar-based trade settlement requirements. The fourth key indicator will be the announcement of pilot programs or small, limited-scale tests of the foundational digital dinar framework, which will signal the next level of execution. These signals will collectively reveal exactly how quickly Iraq is moving and how close the country is to fully completing this foundational financial transition, which then opens the door for other, more comprehensive monetary policy actions. What surprised the world is that Iraq has already quietly and effectively checked several of these critical boxes, and the digital green light means that many more, even more significant announcements are immediately coming down the pipeline. Globally, Iraq's aggressive digital move could have much wider geopolitical implications beyond its borders. As a major, influential, oil-producing nation modernizes its financial systems and secures its currency, it gains significant leverage in regional and global trade negotiations. A sovereign digital dinar opens the conceptual door for Iraq to eventually settle oil contracts in its own national currency instead of relying almost exclusively on the US dollar, as is common practice today. That full shift would be gradual, but even small steps in that direction would dramatically increase Iraq's economic independence and influence within the region. This is fundamentally not about hostile intentions to replace the dollar, but rather about balancing power and gaining financial autonomy as a sovereign nation. A modern, fully digitized oil-backed economy with massive, stable financial reserves becomes significantly harder for external forces to pressure financially, and gains dramatically more control over its own economic destiny and long-term planning. That is what makes this moment historic. Iraq is now positioning itself not as a financial follower or a client state, but as a country ready to shape its own economic path and exercise its inherent financial strength on the global stage. The digital transformation also brings immediate, practical benefits to Iraq's entire ecosystem of local businesses. Small and medium sized enterprises, SMEs, will gain easy access to electronic payment tools, enabling them to compete more effectively with larger firms and participate in the modern economy. Exporters and importers will enjoy faster, more secure trade settlements, and government contractors will receive money through transparent, auditable digital channels, significantly reducing payment delays and opportunities for localized corruption. Digital systems fundamentally elevate entire industries by allowing for faster processing, simpler, more accurate record-keeping, and clearer financial tracking for all involved. This boost in confidence and operational efficiency will attract and open the door for more large-scale foreign direct investment. Global investors fundamentally love transparency, accountability, and predictable, traceable financial systems, and Iraq's new, rapidly implemented digital framework provides all three, drastically reducing perceived and actual operational risk in the marketplace. Education and large-scale public training will also play a critical role in the success of this transition. The central bank is currently rolling out comprehensive financial literacy campaigns aimed squarely at teaching citizens how to securely use digital wallets, navigate mobile banking apps, and utilize secure online payment systems for daily commerce. Banks are dispatching representatives into communities to explain how the transition works, and even schools and universities are introducing digital finance modules into their curricula. This level of preemptive national-scale preparation and public outreach reassures both domestic audiences and the entire international community that Iraq is profoundly serious about digital reform and its successful adoption. What caught many skeptical analysts by surprise is precisely how extensive and organized these preparations already are. Iraq is not improvising or learning on the fly. It is executing a long, planned, highly coordinated, and fully authorized transition that is now moving at an impressive speed, surprising everyone with its focus and discipline. Another major, long-term impact of this digital green light will be an immediate increase in financial stability for the entire economy. Digital systems allow central banks to monitor liquidity, money flow, and credit conditions in real time, giving them a significant advantage over slow, analog systems. If inflation rises unexpectedly, the central bank can now respond faster and more surgically with monetary tools. If the economy slows down, stimulus tools can be deployed instantly and with full traceability. Traditional, paper-based banking systems often react too slowly and clumsily to sudden economic shocks, but modern digital systems are faster, smarter, and infinitely more efficient. This gives Iraq much greater proactive control over inflation, its exchange rates, and broader financial fluctuations, creating the stable conditions needed for more ambitious and long-term monetary strategies that many viewers of this channel have been patiently waiting to see the central bank implement. This new level of control is a core feature of the modernization effort. This green light may also significantly influence Iraq's regional role and leadership position in the Middle East. Neighboring countries in the region are also actively digitizing their financial sectors, and Iraq's rapid, decisive modernization now allows it to participate as an equal partner in new regional financial networks, cross-border payment hubs, and digital trade corridors that are rapidly forming across the Middle East. This could dramatically increase Iraq's economic influence in the region and strengthen its economic partnerships across a variety of sectors, not just energy. The surprise here is the speed. Iraq is now moving at the same pace, or arguably even faster, than some of its better established neighbors in the transition to digital banking and finance. This is fundamentally not the Iraq of a decade ago, struggling to keep its systems running. This is a country confidently stepping into a new regional leadership role, demonstrating the power of unified political and financial will to accelerate national transformation and seize control of its economic destiny. The new era is beginning now. One of the most significant and transformative long-term effects of the full digital transformation is the acceleration of economic diversification away from almost total oil dependence. Iraq has relied heavily on volatile oil revenues for decades, but digital systems immediately create accessible, massive opportunities for new, sustainable industries like e-commerce, cloud services, and the entire fintech sector. These burgeoning industries can employ thousands of young Iraqis and reduce the country's dependence on the unpredictable oil market, which is critical for long-term national stability and resilience. Again, this shift came faster than expected, as most long-term analysts predicted meaningful diversification would take another full decade, but the digital green light accelerates that entire timeline by creating the necessary infrastructure for non-oil growth today. Looking ahead, the next 12 to 18 months will be the most decisive in recent memory. Iraq will likely release more definitive details about the Digital Dinar Initiative's timeline. Banks will integrate deeper digital features at the branch level, and the government will significantly expand electronic salary payments to all employees. Foreign investors will increase their interest and due diligence as financial transparency massively improves. And most importantly, the central bank will continue to build, test, and secure the foundational infrastructure that directly supports all future major monetary decisions. Iraq is now decisively in motion, fully authorized and moving at speed. And when a nation this strategically important begins moving with this level of unified focus and speed, the entire global financial community must pay close, sustained attention to the implications for regional stability and international trade. To sum it all up and bring this special report to a close, today's groundbreaking announcement is far more than a routine policy update from the central bank. It is a profound and undeniable turning point in the nation's financial history. Iraq has officially and decisively stepped into its long-anticipated digital era. The central bank now has the formal approval it needed to begin execution. The government is aligned and supportive of the acceleration. The necessary technology and partnerships are already in place and ready to scale. And crucially, the people are adapting and embracing the change faster than anyone anticipated. Whether you choose to call this a major financial reform, a system reset, or simply a decisive digital shock to the markets, one thing is abundantly clear: Iraq is not standing still anymore. This bold move caught everyone off guard because it signals that Iraq is not only ready for the next chapter of its economy, but it has already started writing it, a chapter that is stronger, smarter, more transparent, and more permanently connected to the world than ever before.